Hello, all my awesome nieces and nephews. It's your favorite aunt again, Aunt Julene. And hello to all my awesome, great nieces and nephews on the Robertson side. I know you guys don't really know who I am, but I know who you are, and I think you're fun and fabulous. I'm really excited about today's book because, well, first of all, it is Rachel, Zoe, and Tess. And as you can see, this was written and illustrated by Marta Robertson, who is my awesome daughter and your cousin. She wrote this for a school assignment when she was 9 years old, and the teacher got it together and bound it in an actual book for her and sent it home with us. So that's really fun. I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, first off, about the author. Marta Robertson is 9 years old. She was born on December 28th, 1998. It says 1999 there, but that's wrong. It was 1998. She has 3 other siblings and 1 dog. She lives in Mannheim, Germany. Her first book was Too Much Sugar, Bob, which I actually still have. She wrote it in kindergarten. She hopes she'll be an author when she grows up. Her hobbies are swimming, rollerblading, doing crafts, and writing stories. And maybe this story will inspire one of you to write and illustrate your own story. One day, while Rachel, Zoe, and Tess were walking into their classroom, they noticed a new girl sitting at their table. "Hi, what's your name?" Rachel asked. She glared at her and quietly said, "Stacy." "Nice name." Stacy ignored her and pulled out a pink folder with her name written in cursive on it with hot pink. Then the bell rang to go to lunch. At lunch, Stacy wouldn't stop bragging about how her dad owned the community bank and how she had a whole bunch of pets, etc. When they went home, they all did their hobbies. Rachel went to gymnastics, Zoe went to the skate park to skateboard, and Tess sat in her room and drew. After about an hour, they all met at the skate park. "Hey, Zoe," Tess yelled as they walked into the skate park. Zoe skated over to them. "Hey, should we go to Rachel's house now?" "Yeah, let's go." It was Friday, and all of them were having a sleepover at Rachel's house. In the morning, they had pancakes for breakfast with bacon. After a while, they all went home. "I'm home, Mom," Tess yelled, walking into her house. Her cat, Jackie, walked up to her. "Hi, Jackie." She walked through the hall. "Mom, you here?" There was no answer. Then she decided to do her homework. Then a couple of minutes later, her mom, Mrs. Block, walked into the door. "Hi, Mom," Tess said, looking up from her homework. "Where have you been?" "I was at the commissary. Can you help me with the groceries?" "Sure." Then 2 days passed and there was school. "Good morning," Zoe said to Stacy. Stacy ignored her again. Zoe turned to face her friends. "She won't say anything. Let's be really nice to her." "Okay." "I like your shoes." She turned around. "Really?" "Yeah, they're very pink." Then she turned around again. The next day at school, Stacy wasn't there. Then about 10 minutes later, she came in. "Sorry I'm late," she said to the teacher, Mrs. Brown. She walked to the girls' table. "Good morning," Tess said. "Ha ha ha!" Unexpectedly, Stacy laughed so hard she fell out of her chair. "It wasn't that funny," Tess said, puzzled. Then Stacy laughed even harder. "Are you okay?" Zoe said. Then she climbed back up to her chair. "Yeah, I'm fine." "Hey, do you want to play with us at recess?" "Sure." Then at recess time, they were all playing with their new best friend, Stacy Jackson. The next day, Stacy came in with pigtails, a black vest, baggy army green jeans, and a black hat. "What happened to you?" Tess asked Stacy. "Oh, I just got tired of being all popular because I wanted to be friends with you guys. Do you want to sleep over tonight?" "Sure." Then Stacy's mom picked up the girls and drove to Stacy's house. 5 minutes later, Mrs. Jackson pressed a button on a little remote, and then a big, huge gate opened that said House of Jackson on the top. She drove in. She had a mansion. "Wow!" Zoe, Rachel, and Tess said. Then they walked in. "I'm going to work now. Amber is in charge, and don't annoy the butler." "Okay, Mom. Bye." "You have a butler?" Stacy nodded. "Gary." "And who's Amber?" "My sister. She's 18. Then Stacy gave them a whole tour of their house. It was so big that it took them about an hour. For the first time, they saw everything that she had bragged about. Her pets, her dad, her TV, her room, and her whole house. At night, they played with Stacy's Yorkie puppy named Kiki. She also had 2 brown horses named Brownie and Lulu, 4 gerbils named Peanut, Coconut, Mimi, and Twinkie, also 8 fish and 2 mice named Minnie and Squeaky. But they didn't play with them. They walked into her room. They watched High School Musical 3, which wasn't even out yet, but Mr. Jackson paid $50 to make them burn a disc for him. In the morning, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson had to work, so Amber was in charge. Stacy and Amber got along all the time. Then they ate breakfast, and then they went to the park with Kiki. Kiki barked and tugged on the leash, trying to chase a cat. "Do you guys want to sleep over at my house tonight?" Tess asked. "Sure, if it's okay with my mom." "Great." Then they all met at Tess's house. While Rachel was sitting on the couch, Jackie jumped up and purred. "Hey, Jackie," Rachel said, petting her. Jackie purred even more. Then they watched Kung Fu Panda. But then the movie was over. "What do you guys want to do now?" Tess asked. "Go to sleep," Rachel said, yawning and slumping on the couch. "Let's watch another video." So Rachel went to sleep and everyone else watched Alvin and the Chipmunks. They laughed their heads off at that movie. The next day in the morning, Mrs. Block, Tess's mom, took the girls shopping at the mall and got lunch there at the food court. Then they all went back to Tess's house to wait for Mrs. Blonsky, Rachel's mom, to pick them up and take them home. "Hey guys, I have to do some shopping at the commissary. Will your moms mind?" "Yeah, it's okay." Then Mrs. Blonsky parked in the parking lot. She got out and slid open the door. "Everybody out!" she yelled. Then she unbuckled Jojo, Rachel's little baby brother. His real name is Joe, but he goes by Jojo. "Let's go," Mrs. Blonsky said, closing the door. "I'm only going to get a few things, so it won't take that long." Then the next day at school, Stacy came in and sat down. Then everybody started to laugh. "Okay," Stacy said to herself, confused. Then about an hour later, Mrs. Brown told everybody to line up for lunch. Stacy stood up. Then everybody laughed even harder than the first time. Stacy was embarrassed so much that she fainted because a boy in her class named Scott put red paint on her chair. "Oh my gosh, who was the one who put paint on Stacy's chair?" Mrs. Brown yelled. Everybody looked at Scott. Mrs. Brown looked at him too. Scott said while Mrs. Brown walked up to him. He looked around. "Were you the one who put paint on her chair?" asked Mrs. Brown. She walked away and called the principal. Then Stacy woke up in the nurse's office. "Are you okay?" the nurse, Mrs. Coleman, said. "Yeah." "Oh, good. Well, it's time you should go home now." "Okay." Then Mrs. Coleman gave her an ice pack and called her sister because her parents were at work. Then her sister drove to the school and picked her up. Then that weekend, they had another sleepover at Stacy's house. They had a great time. They did mattress surfing, played board games, and watched 3 movies, but fell asleep during the last one. Then in the morning, Kiki licked Stacy's face so she would wake up. She opened her eyes and rolled over. Kiki barked. Then she growled and tugged on her blanket. Okay, Stacy groaned. Then she woke up Rachel, Zoe, and Tess. They ate breakfast and talked about summer, which was coming up and they would be in 5th grade. Then summer came and they had a whole bunch of sleepovers and had a great time. The end.